Hello everyone, I'm Nathan Carson, and thank you for taking the time to watch my video titled Challenges 2050 Paradigm Shift. It's not an easy task to meet the needs of 7 billion people, much less 9 billion people, but that's something we're going to be forced to do in 2050. Over the course of the semester, I have been enrolled in a class titled Challenges 2050. During this class, I have been forced to step outside of my comfort zone and challenge myself and stretch myself in order to develop innovative solutions to the world's problems. As a result, I feel better equipped to tackle the issues that will face humanity in 2050. Also, 3 concepts have come to my mind on how we can go about creating lasting change in our world. These concepts are global awareness, social engagement, and individual action. In order to gain a better insight onto these issues, I've decided to go out and ask my peers about what they think about each of these issues.
So Ethan, in what
Let's
ways do you
first
think the
hear
world's
about
going to be
from
different
my
in
friend
2050?
Ethan about global awareness.
I think that the world is not going to be quite as cheery as we would like it to be. I think that global warming is going to be a very real issue, and with that, polar caps will be melting and ocean levels will be rising, very doom and gloom, which would cause people to leave the areas that they're in, especially near the shorelines, and increase our already valid problem of overpopulation, which leads to crime issues. And I also think the world in 2050 is going to be heavily dependent on technology, which is another rant for another day.
Okay, so clearly you have some reasons for concern.
How do you think we can go about trying to address these concerns?
The human race, I believe, is a very adaptable race. In ancient Greece, they didn't have the internet, but they were able to create these massive city-states that worked and were very successful. Ancient Rome, they invented concrete, for Pete's sake. And I mean, the technological revolution that we've had recently, now everyone has access to the internet, and I can't think of any one of my friends who does not have some sort of technology available to them. And I think the world in 2050 is going to be heavily dependent on technology. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but the adaptable human race would be dependent on technology.
Okay, so are there any particular
Adaptations that you can think of to help address the problems of overpopulation, climate change, etc.?
Excuse me. I think that there isn't really any specific action that we can take right now, except for plan for a variety of issues that could possibly take place. Set in place a protocol. If something were to happen, then this should take place. Think globally and act locally. Not to say that any of the problems that we think are going to happen will happen, but if there is an overpopulation concern in a certain area, have a plan so where some of these people can be relocated to somewhere else, or have a plan that actually works to grow food to feed this growing population, so it can just spread out from there. I can't think of all the possibilities.
Okay, well thank you. You've definitely given us some food for thought.
Appreciate it.
Quite welcome.
Ethan certainly has a different view about what the world's going to look like, but this view is very, very important if we want to understand the true scope of the challenge that we're going to face. Until the world is able to take on and address the issues head on and be fully aware of the magnitude of the challenges of 2050, we will be unable to come up with innovative solutions.
So Tiffany, how do
In
you
order to
feel
create
about
lasting
2050?
change in our
Do you
world,
feel
we
excited?
must be willing
Do
to
you feel
engage with
hesitant?
society
Do you
into
feel
engagement with
fearful?
culture.
I
Let's
think my
hear
first
from my
thought
friend
about
Tiffany on how we
2050
can go about
is
doing that.
excitement, because I can definitely see our generation is passionate and people are pursuing those passions. But I'm also a little fearful because although I do see that, I see the majority of people becoming just very callous towards the idea of social causes and social issues just because they're being thrown with so many different things that need help. So I would say excitement, but also fearful.
Okay. So what do you think the biggest issue is that this generation is going to have to face in 2050?
I definitely think it's just becoming callous towards compassion and just being so overwhelmed with all the different things that are being thrown at you. May it be, oh, this person over in Kenya doesn't have food and they need food, or is it, this person's trapped in slavery. There's just so many things and so many issues that need to be addressed that people are just getting to the point where they're throwing their hands up and saying, oh, there's just too much, I can't do it, so I'm not going to do anything at all.
Okay. Now, how do you plan on being part of the solution? How do you plan going about changing these attitudes and being callous towards the world?
I guess the first step is just yourself. I think it all starts with you. So with me, it's just finding my passion, finding where I want to invest my time. Because if you're passionate about something, that's going to drive you forward and that's going to keep you moving. So I guess just encouraging people to find where they're passionate and just pursue that. Because as long as each person finds something they're passionate about, then I think that we can tackle all the different social issues that are here in our world.
Okay, thank you so much.
Tiffany is so right that it is easy to become discouraged about all the problems that we are faced with on a daily basis. But the moment that we close ourselves off from the world and stop caring, it's over. We don't have a second chance to address the problems of 2050. We have to be the change that we want to see in the world. In order to create that change, we have to discover our passion. We can do that by asking ourselves questions such as, what can I not do? What do I find myself inexplicably drawn to? What keeps me awake at night? And what gets me excited to discuss with others? Once we discover our passion, we can then begin to go about making a change in the world around us.
So Wires, what comes
Let's
to
hear
mind
from
when
my
you think of
friend Wires
2050?
and how he's
It's already
discovered
flying
his
by then, right?
passion
Flying
and how he
cars,
wants
all
to make
that.
action in the world
That's far
around
enough
him.
away. When I think about 2050, I think a lot about higher penetration rate of technology, especially a lot more than we have today. Even though what we have today is quite substantial. I think that a lot of second and third world countries, you're going to see a lot of them moving into higher standard living, more similar to what we've already enjoyed in the Western world. I think there'll be a lot more international trade, and you also have all the problems that come with international trade and higher standards of living.
Okay, so what are some of the challenges that you think we're going to have to face?
There's going to be a lot of issues to face. I don't really feel informed enough to speak about any of them, except for maybe energy, because I'm somewhat involved in that. I'm a nuclear engineering major here at the University of Florida. I also work every now and then at a utility in Georgia. The big issue we face right now in the energy space is being able to allocate the proper mixture of energy sources to meet the demand that we have. So there's several energy sources: coal, natural gas, nuclear, solar, and wind. And by majority, most of it comes from those fossil fuels and nuclear. Of course, governments and private groups keep pushing for the renewable technology, the solar and the wind. And the real problem with those energy sources is that they're too intermittent. They don't produce all day. And so it makes it really tough when you want to put your AC on, say mid-afternoon or during the high peak of the day. And if the wind's not blowing, then you're just not making any energy. It's really hard as a utility to maintain stability in the grid, because your grid's going to be most stable when your energy supply is perfectly matching your energy demand.
Okay, so how do you go about overcoming this challenge?
You go about it by targeting for a all-of-the-above strategy. You try and get all the mixes in, every energy source. And that really gives you the flexibility and the versatility to not just rely on one energy source too much. It also is really helpful for utility in terms of their financial standing, because if the price of energy, say on natural gas, swings too widely. Well, that's only taking up a small fraction of all your energy sources. So it's that sort of diversity that lets you maintain stable prices.
Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Of course.
Because Wires has discovered his passion, he is better able to engage with the world around him. And just like there is only not one solution to the world's energy needs, there is just not one solution to the challenges that the world will be facing in 2050. It's going to take all of us working together to meet these challenges. We have to embody the concept of think globally but act locally. And we can only go about making a true difference in the world if we encourage global awareness, social engagement, and individual action. Only then can we meet the challenge of caring for 9 billion people by 2050. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch my video. I hope that you are both informed and inspired to go out and to make a difference in the world around you. Thank you so much.